Happy 4th of July, America. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
President Biden there addressing an audience at the White House, a party they're holding tonight for Independence Day, saying the country is emerging from the darkness, saying America is coming back together. Monica Alba is with us from the White House. Now, Monica, the president, the White House, the administration has put a lot of emphasis on this date, on July 4th, as sort of a turning point, and that's what you heard from him.
Exactly, Kate. This was a celebratory progress report, but not quite a victory speech. And that's because President Biden said the country has come a long way, but there is still a long way to go, that the job is far from over. And he framed that specifically in the context of vaccinations. By today, the White House wanted to see 70% of all American adults with at least one dose of the coronavirus vaccine. But they did fall short of that, narrowly missing it with only about 67% of that in that field, and about half of all Americans fully vaccinated at this point. So he wanted to remind everybody, while acknowledging the massive toll, more than 600,000 lives lost in this pandemic so far, that still there is work to be done, and that people who might still be waiting on the sidelines in terms of debating whether to get the shots need to act now, specifically referencing the highly transmissible Delta variant. That's something that now is accounting for about 25% of all new infections in the country, according to CDC data. It's something the White House is tracking very closely, deploying surge response teams to deal with it. And that's why you heard the president really talking about how America has emerged from that darkness and isolation, of course, noting how different things are this year compared to a year ago, but that the battle is not over yet. He, of course, referenced his late son, Beau Biden, while thanking military families and essential workers. They were the ones who comprised the crowd, more than 1,000 people, which is the largest event that has taken place here at the White House since the president took office. Kate.
All right, Monica Alba at the White House, thank you. And as Monica said, the president very deliberately mentioned the Delta variant, the dangerous Delta variant. I want to go to our medical contributor, Dr. Kavita Patel, who's with us. He also said that we've made a lot of progress. The virus no longer controls our lives. Medically speaking, is that all accurate?
Yeah, Kate, it's pretty accurate if you're vaccinated. If you're not, this really is, unfortunately, a lethal threat, not just the variant, but the ability for this variant to penetrate unvaccinated young people. It's really astonishing. So this is an incredible moment to celebrate, as he talked about, and as the president discussed, but also a heavy moment of commitment and responsibility.
And if you were giving advice to the White House, what do they need to do in the next month, quickly?
Yeah, this is, I have talked with folks in the White House, and the federal strategy, mass vaccinations, really large ways to get to bigger populations, that's obviously not the answer. Now it's about getting down at the community levels and having physician offices, people that others trust in the community, have those shots in their hands to be able to have conversations with people. And frankly, Kate, as America is opening back up again and people are going into restaurants, I would love to see even small business owners just having very honest discussions with people about any concerns they have. Nobody is shaming or blaming here, but I'm more worried about half of the United States that's not vaccinated. In some parts of the country, even more.
All right, Dr. Patel, thank you. That concludes our coverage for now. We will have much more tomorrow on Today. For now, I'm Kate Snow. Thanks so much for watching. Happy Independence Day.